Hello everyone, welcome to Men on Fire. My name is Mike Aren, a former mechanic and engineer turned transformational teacher. And each week I'll deliver an inspiring message to help you excavate those repressed inner negative feelings and install new thoughts that will finally allow you to truly become the person you were born to be. Welcome to another episode of Men on Fire here on Soul Mechanic Radio. In today's episode, I would like to talk about essential traits of someone that possesses good character. Now, everybody probably has their own definition of what good character is, and that is absolutely fine. However, we will examine some traits that people with good character normally have, and we will need to possess a playbook of those traits if we wish to become our greatest versions and change. And I know that is a very contentious word, the word change. However, we inherently know that in order to progress in life, we're going to have to change, aren't we? We just can't stay the way we are. That doesn't move us forward at all. But we will have to find out some way to make some progress without disrupting our usual patterns of just staying in the same spot. And I'm just as guilty as anybody else here on that sort of thing. And I wanted to start talking about character and reputation too. And people can sometimes confuse that. I have a good reputation, so therefore I have good character, but that's not necessarily the case. I mean, if there's 100 people listening to this podcast right now, that means I have 100 different reputations. I don't own my reputation. You don't own your reputation. The reputation lives in the minds of others. So if I'm at a speaking gig and I'm talking to 500 people out there, I have 500 reputations ongoing right at that moment. I don't own any of them. They're all judging me by the way I look, the way I speak, what I'm wearing, how I hold myself on stage, all those sorts of things. So it is in their minds that the reputation exists, not in my mind. People could tell you sometimes, oh, I think this about you, and you may think that's your reputation, but that certainly is not it, and reputation does not naturally follow into character. So let's take a look at some of the 6 essential traits that you will have to possess if you'd like to have good character. The number 1 trait is integrity. And integrity is such a huge, huge thing with me. And I think, maybe early on in my life I didn't have near the integrity I have now. So it's something that needs to be developed too, just like a muscle that lays dormant. It doesn't get used, so you need to use it. Now, the most common definition of integrity is this: steadfast adherence to a strict moral and ethical code. A state of being strong, not needing repair, as in, for example, the mortar in a brick wall. Everything is sound, does not need repair. So that's another definition of integrity. That's sometimes in the physical sense or the engineering sense, that things are very sound and ready to be used. So those are some of the common definitions. My definition is simple. It's honesty above all, to all, including self. That's the hidden ingredient most people don't think about when they talk about integrity. So most of us naturally feel that we have integrity. But some of us just think that's doing what say we're going to do. And sometimes we do that, sometimes we don't, right? I mean, I say to myself, I'm going to go to the gym, and oftentimes I somehow find a way not to go, or I've even pulled in the parking lot and then didn't even go in. I mean, because there was something else popped up or whatever the reason, or I use it as an excuse to not go. But when other people, we saw other people that don't say seem to have a lack of integrity, like there might be some bosses or friends or a spouse, that just ticks us off. But when we don't have it, that's okay. So the bottom line is integrity with self is number one. You have to remember that you having integrity is the most important aspect of having this trait of good character. So when you have integrity, you don't act one way in one situation and another in a different situation. Unyielding integrity leads to health, wealth, and happiness. And a lack of integrity eventually leads to failure. That's right, it leads to failure eventually. Because without the integrity you have with yourself, you cannot continue to conduct yourself in a good moral, ethical code which shows good character. And eventually you will fail in whatever you're attempting to accomplish. Now, integrity is when our daily actions are in agreement with our core values and deepest beliefs. No matter what those beliefs are, it doesn't really matter. Now, integrity is when we do what we say we're going to do, when we say we're going to do it. We touched on that already, but it has to do with ourselves. We have to say, we gave our word to somebody, we would be there at that time. We would pick up our kids at that time. We would, whatever we wanted to do, we did it. Okay? So that's personal integrity. And a person of integrity stays true to his or her values, her moral values, or moral code. Exercising unyielding integrity is not to get what we want. It is to become who we want to be. Now, let me say that again. This is very important. Exercising unyielding integrity is not to get what we want. It is to become who we want to be. Now, who we become will always be more valuable than what we get. Do you see that? So, when we have a personal integrity and a strong sense of integrity, we will become a certain person when we adhere to that strict integral code. And doesn't matter what it is anymore. It doesn't matter what we get, because no matter what we get in life, what we purchase, what we buy and trade for, or whatever, houses, cars, all those sorts of things can be taken away, but they can't change the person I had to become in order to get there, which means I can start again. I have that unyielding integrity with myself. I know I can do this again. So it doesn't matter. They can strip those things, material items away from us, but they can never take away who we had to become. And we became who we wanted to become through unyielding. Unyielding is a huge word there. Unyielding integrity. You don't let down that shield of integrity. And integrity gives us personal power. And personal power means we have a choice. Every choice we make will have a positive or negative consequence in our life. And the universe, folks, doesn't care what choice we make. However, it will deliver based on those choices. Now, number 2 on the list is honesty. Honesty is a close relative of integrity, as you know, because we just talked about a little bit of honesty. But it is said honesty is the best policy, but I would say it's not just the best policy, it's the only policy if you truly want to become your greatest version and change your life. Now, why do people even lie? I don't know. I know I did a lot of it when I was younger. Lied all the time. Either to my parents or girlfriends or friends, or some of them were just embellishments, or some of them were outright lies I made up. And, you get better at it the more you do it. So it becomes a little more natural. Not that it is natural, but you know what I'm talking about, because we pretty much all have lied before. So people lie either because they're trying to hide something or they're afraid of the ramifications of whatever they've done. But either way, this lying is a trust destroyer. And we all know that trust can take a long, long time to build up and achieve, and it can be lost in seconds. It can be destroyed in seconds. So when we lie to somebody and they find out, that trust that we built up over years can be gone in seconds. It's a terrible thing to experience. So if you tell the truth, people will want to trust you. If you lie to some of them and not others, they're going to find you out too. So when they find out that you lied to somebody else, then they're probably going to think, well, what does he say to me? Is he telling me the truth? So it's a real slippery slope to go down. And eventually people find out, and you get a reputation, as we talked about earlier, because it's in their minds, remember, not your mind, for being dishonest. So is that what you want to be known for? When you're honest and transparent, things just seem to come to you, and life just flows so much easier. Honesty is such a good policy to have in your arsenal. Number 3 on the list for becoming somebody of good character is loyalty. Now, people that have integrity and are honest almost always possess this trait too. They have that stick-to-it attitude. So, when it comes to others, and they just keep on going no matter what. A person that is loyal will stick by their friends, their family, their coworkers at any time, no matter what the case is. You know what? I'm here for you. And we all fail. It's just a matter of time, really. No matter how talented we are, we all will fail eventually at what we're doing, and that's okay. The people love to be around others that will allow them to stretch into who they want to be, but also allow them to fail without abandoning them. So you stay loyal to them, and by allowing them to take some chances and get out there and try some new things. But when they do fail, because ultimately we all do, it's part of life, it's part of learning. That person that sticks with them then is seen to be loyal. And people love that quality in people. So when we are loyal to others, they will be loyal to us. Loyalty is one of the best tools to bond and strengthen any relationship, bar none. Now, number 4 on the list is self-sacrifice. So what is it about self-sacrifice that endears us to others? If you decide to take a pay cut, for example, and stay at your job when times are tough, when others may not, but once you do that, that endears you to not only your employer, of course, but to all your peers as well. And then many will even follow your example. Self-sacrifice means you don't mind giving more of yourself in order to help others. Who does not like that quality? Now, number 5 on the list is accountability. And in order to become your greatest version and somebody of great moral character, you're going to need accountability. Now, this is the act of allowing others to have a say in your life. Now, this one can be hard, right, guys? A lot of times, we're the boss. We don't want others to push us around, tell us what to do, have that last word. Although, sometimes we do take it sheepishly, but we hate it, right? But it's absolutely the brutal truth that we have blind spots and need others to see what's going on so they can help us steer down the road of life. We can't always see what's happening around us. We need somebody to keep us accountable. I've discovered this in coaching so many, many times by helping people see what's happening kind of behind the scenes. And when you make a decision to move forward with something, you're just moving forward with that, and you kind of have blinders on to some other things that are happening around you. But when you have somebody that will hold you accountable and say, did you take into consideration what's happening over here by taking that decision? Oh, no, I did not. So it's a great device to have you know what's happening around you, and you won't know that unless you have somebody to keep you accountable. Now, the need for accountability doesn't show any weakness. On the contrary, it's a show of strength. People grow tired of bosses and spouses and politicians especially who choose to have nothing to do with accountability. People don't mind mistakes. Don't get me wrong. They don't mind people making mistakes, but you need to own up to them, to be accountable. When you allow yourself to be accountable for your actions, it shows others you're serious about keeping your own house in order. But by your own house, of course, I mean yourself. Now, the last one on our list, number 6 of the list of traits of somebody with good character should have, is self-control. Now, many people link this with, just getting angry and that sort of thing, but, it has a lot to do with temptation. And that's a big word. It's just look at one of the most published books in the world, the Bible. It's in the first chapter, talking about temptations of Adam and Eve with the snake and the apple and all those sorts of things, and Eve tempting Adam after the fact. Whether you believe that or not, or whether that story is true or not, doesn't really matter. But that's how far back this goes, since the beginning of time, basically. And there are plenty of options to participate in them, too, in those sorts of things that tempt us all the time. It doesn't matter what that is, whether you're tempted to buy a chocolate bar when you stop for gas, or whether you see a lady of the night walking down the street and you are tempted to stop and roll down your window and have a chat. Those are kind of extreme ends of the spectrum there. But still, you understand what I'm trying to say. Anybody with good character, which is basically what we've been talking about here, right, knows they need to exercise self-control. In the past years gone by, I've been quick to anger, find fault with others, laying blame with other people, lashing out, but not so much anymore. I still get those feelings, don't get me wrong, but I'm able to control them. And that's what we're talking about here, self-control. It's not that you don't have emotions. It's not that you don't feel the way you used to feel. You will always have those feelings as part of your beliefs and your makeup. And, we'll work on those things later. But that's what you will feel. But it's the self-control part that you need to look at, because when people don't exercise self-control, they begin to lose the respect of others. And self-control is the ability to choose to do the things we should do, whether we feel like it or not. So we won't feel like it, believe me, but we need to do it. And there's another thing to think about here too. We are thinking animals, and our minds constantly working. And our thoughts produce feelings. Now, you know this to be true. You can remember something from 20 years ago when somebody close to you passed away, or when somebody yelled at you, or when your teacher did something to you in school. Whatever the case is, if you think about it, not just a fleeting thought, but you think about it and allow your mind to go there and go back there, those same feelings will come back. The exact same feelings you felt in that moment 20 years ago are there again. How is that possible? It's because our mind remembers that. So thoughts become your feelings, and your feelings become your actions, and your actions that you take on a day-to-day basis become the results you get in your life. So the way you feel is the way you're going to act. If you feel angry, that's the way you're going to act that out. You feel sad, you're going to cry. You're going to have those feelings. And that is a basic lesson on thoughts become things. So thoughts lead to feelings, which lead to actions, which give you the results you get in your life. And if you fall into these temptations that we all have in life and take those actions, that is a result you will get in your life. The actions you take today are creating your tomorrow. The actions you took yesterday have created your today. And that's another subject for a much longer talk later on. But those are the 6 traits one would need to have good character. So, thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Men on Fire, and I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon. Bye for now. Hey, are you having trouble living the life of your dreams? Guess what? You're not the problem. It's not that you're not smart enough, deserving enough, or even hardworking enough. The problem is that you haven't yet installed the one key belief that will change everything. Want to know what it is? You're the one. That's right. You are the one. The world is waiting for you to give it that one special gift that only you possess. Want to find out more? Head to my website at micahwren.com to order my new trilogy, You're the One. The first 2 books are available together in an omnibus book with the exciting final installment of the series available soon. And while you're there, download a free ebook or 2 to help make a difference in your life today. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. As always, keep what feels good and dump what doesn't. And remember, live without judgment, give without expectation, and love for no reason. Follow those 3 simple expressions, and you'll be well on your way to an inspirational, intentional, and successful life. Until next time, you're the one.